Coming up on Look Today, well, the City of Saratoga Springs has given the Saratoga Performing Arts Center a $14,000 Economic Development Award. I've got details. And the Town of Queensbury has officially decided to sign a contract with the Upstate SPCA. More on that coming up. And the village of Lake George has approved the purchase of a new fire truck. We want the old one. I've got those details all ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, I'm Jay Hood Jackson and this is Look Today. Well, in tonight's program I sit down with Krista Klock. She's public relations specialist, and we're joined by Mark Donahue. He's the president and CEO of Community Work and Independence Inc. And they're here to talk about a very unique fundraiser called, you ready? Dancing with the Adirondack Stars. I also sit down with Frank Zarro. He's a founder of an organization called In Our Name Initiative, and he's here to discuss restorative justice, income inequality, and an important event that's happening at Cafe Lena next Tuesday. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties. But first, these headline stories. In our lead story, City of Saratoga Springs has given the Saratoga Performing Arts Center a $14,000 Economic Development Award. Now, this is the first step in the city's plan to promote Saratoga Springs as a worldwide destination for arts and culture. Well, we were at the Saratoga City Council meeting last night where Finance Commissioner Michelle Madigan spoke.
The City of Saratoga Springs plans to support the Saratoga Performing Arts Center, SPAC, with a $14,000 Economic Development Award as a first step in the city's plan to promote Saratoga Springs as a worldwide destination for arts and culture. Additionally, in the near future, as a second step, I will be bringing forward future funding recommendations for economic development project assignments to spur economic growth and development through a variety of methods, one of which will be the cultivation of the city as a thriving arts community.
Now, we've invited Michelle Madigan in for an interview tomorrow. She will be here, and we will get into this topic in much more detail. All right, in other news, well, the Town of Queensbury has officially decided to sign a contract with the Upstate SPCA. Now, this means the town will drop Warren County SPCA's contract. Now, the town cited the reason they went with this was that it was $100,000 less expensive than the Warren County bid. Well, the town board voted 4-1 in favor. Now, there was a lot of public outcry. Some stated that the town cannot engage in a contract with any not-for-profit shelter organization that sells animals for a profit. However, the town board countered, saying both shelters sell dogs and are not prohibited from making profit from the transaction. Well, according to city officials, the new contract will save the city money. Attorney for Warren SPCA stated that according to the Department of Agriculture and Market, Upstate SPCA fits the definition of something called dog dealer. And he spoke about the differences between the two SPCAs.
This is markedly different than the Warren County SPCA, who, pursuant to its contractual obligations with various municipalities, last year in 2017 brought in 47 dogs, 43 of which were ultimately rehomed.
Woof. Switching from news to weather. We can expect overcast skies tomorrow. They're getting snow below us. I don't think we're going to get snow. But let's see how the rest of the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast.
Thank you, Jesse. I'm meteorologist Clarence Ponster with your first look weather update here on Look TV. Our national forecast tonight shows a low pressure system basically moving away, but it's bringing plenty of heavy snowfall along the I-95 corridor into parts of the mid-Atlantic too from earlier in the day. Also a trough across portions of New England into southeast Canada. Also a new area of high pressure from the Arctic that's going to bring those temperatures down primarily into the 20s. So any of that precipitation will fall as snow, and during the overnight hours as the snow continues to fall, it'll likely accumulate because we're not going to have any solar radiation because now those sun angles are getting much higher in the sky, similar to what we saw in September or what we'll see in September. 25 mostly cloudy, then 41 partial sunshine on Thursday. Any snowfall that did fell here in the capital of the district will begin to sublimate, meaning we'll go from a frozen state to a gas state without going through a liquid phase. We'll be in the upper 20s to lower 30s. Still dry, but be prepared for wind chills in the upper teens and mostly cloudy skies. Speaking of snow, we might have that chance again on Friday. Little if any accumulation expected. We'll keep the temperatures above freezing for highs through early next week, with overnight lows in the 20s, maybe lower 20s, and winds out of the north over the weekend and into early next week. Partial sunshine for Saturday to Sunday. Full sunshine, though, on Monday. That was your weather update here on First Look Weather on Look TV. I'm meteorologist Clarence Ponser. Now instead, back to you, Jesse.
Thanks very much, Clarence. All right, back to the news. Well, the village of Lake George has approved the purchase of a new fire truck. Now, part of the decision had to do with the potential savings for the village. Upwards of $15,000, that is. Well, the village board voted to purchase this truck this past Monday. Now, the town of Lake George will have a meeting on April 2nd. We spoke to the chief of the Lake George Fire Department, Jason Berry, and we spoke to him about the need for this truck.
You can slap as many certification stickers on it as you want to say it's good to go, but we know it's old, we know it's tired, and it's definitely time to try and push it down the road while it's still worth something so that we can get something that's 110% reliable out the gate. And it's a public safety thing. When it comes down to it, my biggest concern is public safety, and as long as I got the tools to do it properly, then I know that I'm doing my job 110%.
And we also spoke to Mayor Bob Blaze about the next steps that the village has to take.
It would take about a year for this truck to be manufactured, so at that particular point our truck will be 25 years old, and then we'll be able to take our truck and sell it on the open market, which is expected to glean us somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000.
I know Andrew Gabriel's right here at Look Media would die to have that truck. So Andrew, hope he's listening back there. Up next, I sit down with Krista Clark. She's Public Relations Specialist. And we're joined by Mark Donahue. He's the President and CEO of Community Work and Independence, Inc. And they're here to talk about a very unique fundraiser. It's called Dancing with the Adirondack Stars. And I also sit down with Frank Zarro. Now, he's the founder of a very interesting organization called In Our Name Initiative. And he's here to talk about restorative justice, income inequality, and a very important event that's happening at Cafe Lena next Tuesday. You want to catch this interview. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? And give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. The lookout tonight has to go with something I experienced yesterday and last night. We've been getting a lot of reaction from viewers regarding our conversations and interviews with high school students about gun control. I just want to clarify something for one viewer who wrote in and said that the kids we had from Greenwich were giddy and they were laughing and stuff. I do this every day, interviews that is. And sometimes people get a little nervous. And with younger people, sometimes they do get a little nervous. That was nerves. They were not treating the subject lightly. As a matter of fact, just the opposite. Every young person I've talked to would really impress all of us. And the other thing I want to mention is last night at Rockmont Record Club, sold out to the walls at Cafe Lena. It was Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. And you might recall that there's a song called Teach Your Children Well. Well, the audience skews a little older, as you might expect, because of featuring that album from that era. But there's a line in Teach Your Children Well, and spontaneously, the audience broke out in applause. And the reason they did that is that audience remembers the last time that the younger people in our country took control and affected change. It was really something to witness. And these young people need our support. Cut them a little slack. They're young. They don't have the experience that we have, but they're determined. And anybody who thinks they're not going to get somewhere and affect change, you're making a mistake. One other reminder, please. Our website, it's in a rebuild. It's driving me crazy, but we'll get there. In the meantime, you can always go to our Facebook page. You'll find a link to our YouTube channel where you can get all of our programming, okay? That's it. Tonight on Look TV, Saratoga City Council meeting, a new one from last night. And don't forget, tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.